My name is Sherman Greer, Sherman Greer, and I'm the former Director of Emergency Management Homeland Security for Evansville, Vanderburgh County.
Talk to me a little bit about what are some of the worst weather situations that you dealt with? Just kind of an overarching, in your 20 years in that position.
In my 20 years there, we have annually we have flooding. And flooding has been one of the worst things that we've had in this area here. I think it was 2000, I'm not for sure on that, 2007 flooding. And then we had the flooding 2009, I think it was. 2009 was a bad year for us because we had ice storms, we had flooding, we had tornadoes within the area and everything else. So those are about the worst years that I can think of. As far as we had the snowstorm in 2004, 22 inches of snow in 24 hours. We also had the Hurricane Ike that came up through here in 2004. 2009. So we had all of those things to happen within 1 year of having a lot of different weather events.
And when you look up and down the list of the top weather disasters that this particular group rated, I mean, there are ice storms, floods, tornadoes. I mean, we kind of, can you talk a little bit about the sort of breadth of storms that you see in that kind of position here?
Well, to me, the worst one that we had was the tornado in 2005. The tornado took 20 lives out at the Eastbrook Trailer Park, and also 5 lives in Warwick County. So there again, anytime you lose a life in any type of situation like that, it's stuck in your mind. It's like the C-130 crash that we had, and we had 16 people killed out there. But still, yet that sticks in your mind a lot, and for a long time. Well, for a lifetime, you think about that. Different age groups and everything else. Very touched whenever as children, their lives are taken and in things like that. So, but to me, that tornado of 2005 was a main event. It was. I'll never forget the call that I got at. I think it's about the tornado hit about 1:59 in the morning, and we got a phone call about. I think it was about 1 o'clock from the National Weather Service in my home. Wife was in. She says the phone started ringing. She goes, "Who's calling here at 1 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the morning?" And I said, "I don't know, but you know my job. Give it to me." So she gave me the phone, and they said, "Sherman, we don't know when, where, but you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit hard." And it hit the trailer park out there. Those manufactured homes, it's just like they just explode when you have an F3, F4 tornado to hit those. So there was debris everywhere. The Knight Township Fire Department was the first responder there. And let me tell you something. The Knight Township Fire Department, the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Department, the Evansville Police Department, the EMS that we have, AMR, they responded out there. And they kind of locked arms together and they worked together. Everybody was on the same page, using the unified command that any decisions are going to be made not by one, but by all of the ones that are there to respond to that. That was the main thing because they set the tone of how the rest of the response was going to go. When they first got there, they thought maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 trailers were affected. And when daylight got there, and in the dark you can't really see anything. When daylight got there, they knew that they were overwhelmed for that. So the response started out right, and we tried to keep it right all the way through that scenario of getting people out of there, accounting for people as quick as we possibly could, and keeping the fatalities and everything to the coroner's office because they were the only ones that could make the announcements about that.
What was that kind of a perfect storm or situation thing? I guess. I mean, there was a mobile home, 2 a.m, unexpected.
It was, yes, it was all of those things. All those things that you would not want to happen that night. The electricity was knocked out. There was no. It was just pitch dark out there, and you go out there. I've went out there after this a few times, and just sit on the back roads back out there and just look at that. When it gets dark out there, it is dark. I mean, you can't hardly see anything. So I just imagine when they got there, and they said that we might have a few trailers hit here. I can see why they couldn't see everything at that time.
What was the feeling in the morning as you started to realize the breadth of the devastation there?
Well, to tell you the truth, Joe, I wasn't out there early in the morning. My job as the emergency management director is to coordinate things from the emergency operations center. And by the time we got out there, it was just overwhelming to me. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You see it on TV, you see it happen in other places and everything, and you just, well, it's not going to be that bad and everything. But it really overwhelmed us to get out there and see exactly what was going on. And the first responders that we had out there, I credit all of that to them taking charge of that situation immediately. We got accolades from all over. In fact, FEMA sent 2 guys up here from down in Katrina, because Katrina was going on at the same time. And they came in here, and they were here for 2 days. And they said, we're going to go back to Katrina. They need our help. You guys don't need our help up here. And so, it was a good response, and it was a good thing that all of our agencies here worked together.
Talk to me about the sort of community response around that event, because it seemed like the community really did rally.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. The community rallied to the point to where that they were taking people in, they were feeding people, they were doing everything that they could to take care of people. The Red Cross did a fantastic job also. There's a lot of people that just needed. They weren't physically hurt, but they were mentally distraught. And they needed people with the expertise of being able to do a critical incident stress debriefing, and we needed that done immediately. So they started to working with people immediately after that and helped some of them out. And to tell you the truth, Joe, I mean, this is 2014. I know for a fact there's some people that are still having a hard time with that. I was on the board of directors of Habitat, and we built an housing addition out there close to where that is and everything for people that got Habitat homes, and that was hard for them to just sit and talk about it. It's just something that's stamped into their memory for forever.
Can you talk a little bit about the recovery, the full recovery? I mean, how long were you guys out there on the scene? What kind of things were done, and really what did it take to get things back to quote normal?
Well, first of all, we moved our mobile command post out there so that we could set up. We had a 53-foot semi-trailer that's set up as a mobile command post so that we could have communications, everything that we needed out there. We used that trailer for a lot of different things. We were dispensing food stamps out of there, to the people that lost a lot of their food and everything, because all electricity, all gas and everything had to be cut off out there so that there wouldn't be any explosions or any accidents or anything like that. And a lot of people's homes, with the electricity cut out, they lost everything in their refrigerators, in their freezers and everything. So we had to be able to give people some means of currency or something like that they could get some help and assistance. We had a lot of people that didn't show up also because they felt like there was a handout. No, it wasn't a handout. It was a hand up to where that we're just trying to bring you back to the position that you were before all of this happened. Another area that we had out there that was amazing to me also, and that was the animals and pets that people had. We took 141 different types of pets out of that trailer park, and some of the pets were stayed in their homes, and the people would have to come out there and feed them and take care of them. But the Humane Society and Animal Control, they did a fantastic job of helping take care of those pets. And we had some that flew, we had some that slithered, we had some that were flying, hopping around, and everything else. And there was a couple of them I just looked at and went like, "What is that?" But still, yet it was their pets, and we took care of them and made sure that all of them got their pets accounted for and everything. There's things like that come up. We have the resources. We had just never had to respond the resources to a situation like that. We had met with Humane Society. We had met with the Animal Control. So, it's just one of those things that you have to have back in your mind. And some people, those pets are more important than anything else to them. When you've got a elderly lady that's there and that's the only thing that she's got to talk to on a day-to-day basis, or an elderly gentleman, and I got a chocolate lab at home like that, and I talk to him all the time. So it's part of the family. So you just have to be ready to take care of those type of things for the people.
Shifting gears to the 09 ice storm.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me a little bit about when you knew that was going to be a thing, and how severe it was?
All the information that we got was from the National Weather Service, and the National Weather Service said that you can draw an imaginary line. This is up as far as it's going to go, and it's going to be all in Kentucky. And I think we had the sense enough to know that there's no way it's going to stop at the Ohio River and that's it and everything. So it came into Indiana, and southern Indiana. I would take 22 inches of snow any day over 2 inches of ice, because that means that you're going to have people without electricity. Those lines are going to snap, those trees are going to snap, and they're going to knock out the electricity if it hasn't already been knocked out. And on top of that, people will have to shelter in place, have to shelter at home, shelter in place at home and everything. Well, the only time that I know people are taking it serious about an ice storm or snowstorm is when you go to the grocery store and all the milk and bread is gone, because that's when people go out to get ready and get prepared for a situation like this. They should be prepared every day, but it's one of those things that people just wait to the last minute. But that ice storm, we had no idea it was going to be as serious as it was. We thought maybe we'd get an inch of ice or something like that. And the winds is what really caused the problem, because it was blowing in from the northeast, I think it was, and it was coming down, and the rain and everything was coming up this way, and it was freezing, and it was one of the perfect storms also. It is one of those things that you just don't think is going to happen. It may not happen again for another 20 years, it may not happen again for another 10 years, and then again it could happen next year.
What were some of the consequences and things that you had to deal with? And I mean, there were people that were out of power. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, one of the things that we learned throughout that situation, and Dr. Nicholson from the health department, one of the things that we learned there that is people with the mobility chairs, the electric chairs, they had no electricity. They couldn't get their chairs recharged and everything so that they could get around. We worked with these people to try to get them out of those homes and everything so that we could get them out to a place. And then what we had to do is provide wheelchairs for them. St. Mary's and Deaconess helped us out in that aspect. Some of the places that have the wheelchairs and the beds and things like that, they helped us out also. So we got those things, and we had to have people to help us get them out of those things. And if you remember that and everything, if you didn't have a four-wheel drive vehicle, even if you had a four-wheel drive vehicle and you didn't know how to drive it, it was going to be a problem for you. So we had to get some people in here that we would know that could be able to get from point A to point B, and that was getting the National Guard. And the National Guard, Governor Daniels had already activated the National Guard to come in here and help us out. So we had to work with them and get them under their command and everything to get some people out of those situations to where that none of us with the vehicles that we had were not going to be able to get there.
Can you talk to me about how long people were out of power and just what some of the challenges were with the relief effort?
You know, there were people without power up to, even the, let's see, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, people were without power. And we had, if you notice that whenever we had that ice storm, we had power companies in here from all over the United States, mostly northern states, because they deal with this a lot more than what we do. And they came in, and veterans got an agreement with them that they do help each other out. So we had people in here that were, they could get in those bucket trucks and go up, to those lines and everything. They can only stay up there 5 or 6 minutes because that wind is still blowing, and it's a lot colder, 40 more feet up, 4 stories up than it is down on the ground and everything. So they were here and they helped us out and got us. And when they finished here, they were going to Kentucky. So it was, these guys were away from home for 6 to 8 weeks, helping us out down here. So having them to come in to help us out helped out a lot and everything. So that, that's what it is, that we have this unified system that everybody's working together to get these things taken care of. And if you don't have a command system in place immediately, it's not going to work.
How bad was it here versus in Kentucky?
Oh, no. Kentucky got hammered more than what we did. And no comparisons at all. I mean, ours was bad. Kentucky's was a catastrophe. Still yet today, you can go down through Kentucky and see where a lot of those trees and everything just folded over. It's a bad situation there. Some of their infrastructure for their electricity, things like that, are still being taken care of to be able to get back up to where it was before. So there was no comparisons at all from what we had to it. And we had it bad, but we had nothing to what it was in Kentucky.
2004. This will, I'm sure, be a little bit shorter because it was a much smaller thing, 22 inches in 24 hours. Can you talk about, A, when we, kind of how that came about, and B, what we had to do to deal with it?
Well, that came about as, we knew it was a snowstorm was coming in, from the west. We knew it was coming, was watching it. The good thing about snowstorms and things like this, they gradually come in. It's not like a tornado or something like that. Boom, they're in here and they're out. You can tell, and you listen to the meteorologists from the west of you or southwest of you and everything, and then you can more or less plan a little bit and get yourselves ready for that. But I don't think any of us really figured it was going to get that much snow in that short a period of time. We had people stranded out on 64. And we had to, there again, get military people to come in here to go out and get these. Some of these people were in their cars for 24 hours, and we had to get them out of there and get the cars off the road so that the NDOT could be able to, take care of those highways and get that highway open again. But that was a challenge also, because we got the people out. We took them to the state police posts up at 41 and 64. Some of them stayed there. They sheltered them in there, just getting them out of those cars. And we was worried about people sitting there driving, in their cars, and then being taken over by carbon monoxide and everything like that. So we had to get them out and get them into those shelters. We had people that were taken also into the Red Cross for sheltering also. But our main focus there, again, is always life over property. So they got them out of the cars, and then we had to clear the highways with their cars. So the Indiana State Police was helping and coordinating that and getting the cars off the highway. And then once we got the cars off the highway, once we got things to where that we could get transportation around the area, then we had to get people back to their cars. One of the mistakes that was made was that nobody kept track of where those cars went to. So we had various towing companies that went out there and got cars and everything, and it took us a little time to get that people back matched up with their cars.
The highways were obviously a very big part of that situation. Were there things, in the main part of town, that sort of thing, that in terms of the relief that really needed to be dealt with, or was it a much easier situation?
It was a much easier situation in town and everything, because the snowplows and everything for the city of Evansville was going, the Vandenberg County snowplows for the county garage and everything was going here to be able to clear roads and everything, as much as they possibly could. But out there on the highway there, once you have one line of cars that stopped, everything's stopping. And then if the road's not clear, they can't go anywhere anyway. So that was what happened there. It's just a chain reaction type thing that you had, to where that cars were out there and nobody could go anywhere. They were just stalled out there. Truckers with CBs, we've advanced a lot more in our communications, but we were back to the CBs talking to these guys and everything else, so that we could be able to communicate with them. And they helped out a lot also, by being, getting out of their trucks, going back to people, telling them not to run their cars all the time, just run it a little bit and then turn it off and everything. So
that was, that was not something that had the kind of long-lasting impact, correct? It was gone a week later.
A week later, it was all over with and everything. But we had a lot of people that were very grateful of what we did here. We had some people that were disgruntled about what we did here. Got a call from a lady in Buffalo, New York, and she asked us, "Don't you have snowplows there?" And we said, "Yeah, we got snowplows, but they're not." But in Buffalo, New York, they're a lot more adapt to that more than what we do here in Evansville or in southwestern Indiana. So, but we did the best we could.
So, were you here when the '82 windstorm, the
Oh, yeah.
blizzard, all those things?
Yes, yeah.
Can you talk about either one of those?
Well, the June 8th storm of 1982, yeah, that's one that's you won't forget either and everything. Over there on Washington Street, those big oak trees and things were just all blown over, and that wasn't a tornado. That was just a straight line wind that came through here and caused all of that. We had people without electricity here at that time. We didn't have the cooperation of others coming in here like they do now. We had people 4 to 6 weeks without any electricity at that storm. I was working as an emergency medical technician and mobile intensive care coordinator for Welborn Hospital at that time. So my main focus was the hospital, and I wasn't out there. But there was some people that were hurt that they needed. All the ambulances were busy, so the administrator of the hospital, Mr. Gent, told us to go ahead and do what we had to do to help people out. So we got out and went down for Washington Avenue and everything, and we had. I remember one incident that we helped was a tree fell over and smashed the roof of this car, and there was 2 elderly people in there, and this gentleman had his hand on the steering wheel, and it pinched his hand with the roof of the car, and he was laying over. So we got them out of that and was able to move them to the hospital. We took a few people to the hospital.
So that was another very quick storm that kind of came out of.
Yes.
What's your recollection of that day? Do you remember it happening?
We were going into the hospital, and they said, you're going to have a real strong winds and everything. So I went to my mobile intensive care unit, made sure I had it buttoned down and everything. And then we were standing outside of the hospital on Oak Street. Oak Street's not there beside the hospital anymore. They closed that off and everything. But we were standing there, and the trees, the young trees and everything, were bending over. And we were trying to get in, and we walked in, and people were standing at this glass looking out, and I'm saying, like, I'm going to the basement. I don't know about you people, but I don't think it's safe to be there. And everybody eventually came down there, and nothing happened to the glass there and everything, but it wasn't a good thing to be standing there. But they had I guess after that windstorm was over, and like you said, it was just boom, it was here and it was gone, and I don't think it affected Warwick County as much as it affected us. And the reason for that is the meteorologist pointed it out to us. There's nothing but flat land between, coming over from Henderson and things like that, and just coming straight through there, right over the river, and it just gained momentum as it went along and everything. So that one was a bad one.
Were you here for the 78 blizzard too?
77 blizzard, 78 blizzard.
78 blizzard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was. I had just got my emergency medical technician status up at Gibson County. We started an ambulance service up there, and I was in on the ground floor of it, and getting into that. So they we had a patient to bring down to Evansville the next morning after it snowed all night and blizzard and ice and everything else. And it took us an hour and a half to drive from Princeton to Welborn Hospital to deliver this patient. And our lights up on the ambulance, they froze up, and we couldn't, and we just turned the sirens off and slowly moved around to get the lady to the hospital. We almost stayed down here overnight, and in fact, I wish we would have, because I was driving and I was just had the steering wheel like that to get back home, back up to Princeton and everything. But our charge at that time was Gibson County. So
what do you remember about when it hit and just what the weather was like outside? And
it was one of the things I remember was when we were outside to go to a run in Princeton. We had to go there. It was like just real tiny ice pellets hitting you in your face. If your face was exposed, you were going to be you couldn't be out there longer than 2 or 3 minutes, and you'd have frostbite at that time and everything. So, my partner and I always, from the training that we had and everything, you don't worry about yourself. Your partner's supposed to be watching you, and you're supposed to be watching your partner. And we covered this elderly lady up and got her into the ambulance, and then there again, it took us an extreme long time to get them back to the hospital. And we shut down at that time. And it just wasn't safe for us to be out there. But our skin was just, frozen and everything. And I just remember those ice pellets, just small, real little ones, and they sting. They would sting when they hit your face and everything.
It's got to be pretty serious for EMS to shut down.
Yes. So there's no way for us to get from point A. At Gibson County Hospital, you had to come down this hill, and you'd put your brakes on. Or tap your brakes and everything, and you're just at the mercy of, I hope I stop before I hit those trees over here or something. So it wasn't a good deal to do it that way. So
okay, last question, and then I think you have a meeting coming up anyway. Can you just talk a little bit about the breadth of things people need to be prepared for when they live in this area? Because again, hurricanes, tornadoes, or not hurricanes, but
Well, we did. We suffered from Hurricane Ike. I mean, the strong windstorms that we had at that time, and the copious amount of rain that we got in at that time and everything. So yeah, I mean, I would say that the first thing here is flooding. We have flooding annually. Down in Union Township, there's flooding. When you look at the Pigeon Creek, when it's coming right through the city and everything, it's flooding there. We have flooding there. We have the Ohio River that has actually, I used to go up with the highway department director, and we'd go up and go to St. Mary's, and they would fly the helicopter up, and we'd be able to go there, get up there, and be able to look at the Ohio River. It looks sometimes it looked like the Ohio Ocean rather than the Ohio River. I mean, it was just spread out everywhere, and that's the way it should be. The flooding that they had over on the Mississippi River, all of that looked to me like, and others like, man-made disaster made because of all of the dams that they put up, dikes that they put up, different things like that. That water needs to have a watershed to where it could spread out. When you keep it in a situation like that and everything, it's going to be detrimental to human life and everything. So if they was to be able to, take some of those concrete walls that they put up and everything and take them down in certain areas, and they can have the watershed, they wouldn't have to worry about that. But flooding is number one with us. It's going to happen. Number two would be severe storms. We're in an area here that is coming out of most of our storms come out of the southwest. They're going to be coming out of the southwest, and they gain momentum as they come up through there. And then we've got that flat land before it gets through here. And that's, you think about the tornadoes that they have out in Oklahoma and Texas, and they're all flat land and just goes, and it picks up more momentum as it goes along. So we've got that scenario here a little bit also. The next thing that I would say would be the snow, ice. Every year we have a bit of snow. I think our average snowfall here is about 14 inches. And then after that, you may get a year to where that you'll have a 21 or 22 inch snow, one event. And then you have the snow that's going to come through on an annual basis of about 8 to 10 inches. And then we'll top that by having a 14 inch or 18 inch or something like that. So it's not one of those things to where that you can really estimate on that. And I think our meteorologists do a decent job of trying to keep us informed of what to do. And then we have, I would say, something that a lot of people don't think about. We have a lot of hazardous materials traveling through here. Railroads, highway, and a lot of things that people just don't want to know what we have traveling through here. We're doing commodity flows right now. Up in Pike County, we did one a couple of weeks ago. We're going up to Hamilton County, north of Indianapolis, to do one up there. But still, yet there's a lot of hazardous materials. The ultimate disaster that we're going to have in southwestern Indiana are 8 states in the CUSAC, which is the Central United States Earthquake Consortium, is an earthquake. And it's going to let go sometime. 1811, 1812 earthquake was catastrophic for this area. If it would have been built up like it is now, 1811, 1812, there wasn't too much here. But with all the highways and everything else that we've got nowadays, and we depend upon those, and we depend upon our electricity, and we depend upon everything that we have right now, it's going to be the ultimate disaster for us. Because everybody will be affected. The help is going to have to come in from some other places in the United States or outside of the United States. I just, know that that's there. It's going to happen one day, and maybe I won't be alive when it happens, but I'll be shaking in my grave or something. But still, yet it's one of those things that it's going to happen one day. And we have no way to predict that. We just don't know when.